Hello and welcome to the last walkabout of 2025. We finished daily running at the end of November. That's why it's so quiet in booking, unfortunately. And since then we've had a bit of frost on the ground, we've had a bit of the Welsh rain, and it's really turned a bit chilly, basically. But we did finish on a high. We had a fantastic Halloween event at Dolgog Falls, which was organised this year by our young members group. And they took great pride in leading groups of passengers round, jumping out and scaring the life out of them. So well done to the young members for that, because it really did go down really well. And that week also, we had our tracksiders on side. So they were busy carving pumpkins for that and generally tidying up for us and helping build the bonfire for our members and volunteers bonfire and fireworks celebration, which we have each year to say thank you to those guys for all their hard work. So we built a fabulous bonfire and we had some fireworks, and thankfully there wasn't much rain, but there was a bit of wind, so it went down really well. Unfortunately, we had a fire that we hadn't planned as well, and our guards room, which is on the west side of Wharf platform, and that's where the guards make their cups of tea, you know, do some washing, go the loo, that kind of thing. We had a tumble dryer in there which developed a fault and unfortunately got really hot and developed a fire. So it took about 40 minutes for the fire service to arrive, in which time we'd evacuated everybody, we'd shut all the doors to contain it, and they arrived, they came in, put it out, moved the offending tumble dryer from out of the guards room and made sure that the building was safe. Following that, so what we've done is we've investigated the fault of the fire, we've investigated the damage to the guard room. At the moment we're just having it professionally cleaned to get rid of all the carbon that's off the walls. And once we've cleaned all that, luckily we haven't got too much actual damage to the walls and the tiles and that kind of thing. So once we've had it professionally cleaned, we're going to get in there and we'll start repairing it. And then we will have the guards room back in, ready for action for the end of March, for the start of the main running season. So as it's not raining, which is unusual, I've come out to the yard and I found Simon and Grace and Ernie, and what we're going to do is talk to you a little bit about some coal that we're trying out. Now, we went to the HRA conference and we spoke to a lot of different suppliers about what sort of different coals are and biomass and all of that sort of things that are on the market. So Si's been just talking to these suppliers and organising a bit of a trial for us to try the different types, see how they work in the engines, see how they work in the fire bars, what sort of clinker, what sort of stuff we get out of them, and see how the engines respond to them. So Si's going to tell us a little bit about the two different types that we're just experimenting with at the minute.
Okay, so the coal behind us here in the bags is from an Irish company called Arigna. It's been used successfully on the Fairborn Railway over last summer, so they put us in touch. It is smokeless, so we're hoping that it'll help to relieve some of the complaints we get with the Venezuelan coal in terms of the amount of smoke it produces, and certainly around Wharf and Pendray when we're lighting up and preparing engines, we can use it and potentially move to the other coal further up the line. Initials use of it has been very promising. I used it when we were up the line the other day and we had no troubles with it at all. So that was only a light train, but it's a good starting point. And the other coal over here is, again, believe it or not, from an Irish company. This time Hayes Fuels, but this is through our normal coal supplier, and it's one that the Festiniog were using. In fact, they've been mixing this with their other coal over the last summer. So we want to give both options a try to see if either or both work for us, and then we can make a decision what we use going forward, whether we mix with normal coal or use ovoid for lighting up, as I said, and then move to coal as we go up the line. So we're just trying to see what we can do. It's always going to be a challenge at the moment till we get a more consistent supply. But I think this is the best we've got at the moment. Yeah,
so what we're asking firemen to do is kind of have a go with a certain type of coal, give us their feedback, how did it work, how hot did it stay, you know, how long did it burn for, all of that sort of stuff, so that we can kind of work out how much we'd be using and all of that kind of information. So it's really useful to have that feedback. And so you've been with a couple of our visitors and actually using some of this coal, haven't you?
I have.
On Caddy.
Yes.
What have they been up to, Simon?
Well, they've been flying around up around Abergynolwyn and Nant Gwernol. They went out for 2 days. They went out last Friday and then went out with myself on Saturday. They were flying above the trees. They are a little bit worried about the trees that are being chopped down, whether it's going to affect their
continuity.
Whether they won't have any continuity next time they go up there. But that's something that's out of our control at the moment. But they've got some lovely shots with some really nice cold, crisp weather last couple of days, so they're really looking forward to putting that, and they're coming back in January for a week, and this is going to lead into the 4th series, which, all being well, will be produced and distributed in 2027.
2027,
There's 4 more episodes of the current series that's going to be released shortly, leading up till Christmas Eve with the Christmas episode, and then, like I say, a whole new series coming later in 2027.
Yeah, so it's really brilliant that they're still keeping going with us and following those crazy dragons around the railway.
Yeah.
But we haven't just had Caddy visiting, we've also had the National Railway Museum. Anthony Coles, our curator with a camera, has been up and around talking about how you fire a steam engine, what it's like to go up the line and all of that. So we were we welcomed their crew for a couple of days to come up and down, which was really good.
They've had some very nice videos from that's been released on the National Railway Museum website and YouTube channels. So that's good.
That was really good. Yeah, and if you've, I don't know, viewed our webcams or anything, you might have seen a new building that's popped up on Wharf Yard, and that is our brand new plant shed, which is just over here. Now, we've invested in this plant shed because we've got 2 items of plant that we use all the time that are absolutely, we rely on them to lift heavy stuff, we rely on them to move coal, ballast around, and they were sitting out in the Welsh weather and they were just decaying. So what we needed to do was protect them, make sure that they didn't get any further damage to them, and just keep them in the dry to elongate their lives. And so we've constructed this shed, which nicely fits in the same colour green as the publicity store, just to keep them safe. And to be honest, it does really neaten up this side of Wharf a little bit. It will have doors on it. We're just constructing those doors because originally this shed was would only come with a roller shutter, but we didn't want a roller shutter. We wanted nice, simple doors that if, any damage occurred to them, we could fix ourselves. So they will have doors fitted on them soon, but that is our new shed for preserving our expensive plant. But as I mentioned, with the railway having been shut after we finished main running season, lots has been going on. We've had a hedge laying gang out and they've been making a fantastic job of a hedge laying, and also using a new chipper that was bought with the extra AGM money, along with a couple of other items which will be mentioned in a moment, because the outdoor gang have also been out and replacing ballast, sleepers, rails up the line, and they're going to tell you all about what they've been doing.
Well, hello, I'm David and I'm slightly west of Bringlass block post. So we're doing a little relaying job here around the 3 mile post. It's the 2nd week in November and it's outdoor week. We have a couple of outdoor weeks during the winter when we do some of the heavy relaying work on the railway. And it's normally nice weather. This week it's been a bit variable, but it hasn't been too bad. What I'm holding in my hand is the staff that goes with the laser level behind me, and in the distance you may be able to see the excavator working. Now that has the new bucket. Now these are all bought thanks to the generosity of people at the AGM appeal, so thank you to those. These have made our job an awful lot easier, because when we're doing a track relaying job, when we've removed the old track and the ballast, we have to make sure we get the formation exactly level, which is much easier with the new equipment. This makes it a lot easier for installing the new sleepers. If we install them at the right level and they're not up and down or bend one direction, it's a lot easier to lay the rails and then get the fixings in. We're also doing a lot of work on drainage, and we've got a bit of drainage here next to me. We're doing some further work just nearer to Bringlass to try and improve the drainage of the track, because there's nothing worse for a permanent way engineer than water. Anyway, this is a lovely way of spending a week. We've got about 30 people here today. It varies day to day, but it's a good opportunity to come and get some exercise, a good bit of camaraderie and fun, and the railway even provides free sandwiches and soup, try and keep us warm. It's great fun. It's hard work, so if you want a bit of exercise, fresh air, come to one of the outdoor weeks. Please either let the volunteer coordinator at volunteer@talyllyn.co.uk know you want to come, or email Keith Theobald, whose email address is in the news. Anyway, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you sometime on Outdoor Week.
Hello, I'm Luke.
I'm Dan.
And it's our first time volunteering in the Outdoor Week. Usually I'm on the locos firing or cleaning them, and at the end of the train being the assistant guard.
Yeah, and I'm usually guarding the trains, although I do a bit of loco as well.
Yeah, so this is a bit different from what we usually do. Is rather than riding on the rails, we're ripping them up and putting them back. Currently, we're relaying the section just below Bringlass. So we took the rails out, and then we took the ballast out, and then took the ground out, and now we're putting it all back.
Yeah.
With new rails and new sleepers, so trains will run a bit smoother.
It's quite good doing it usually if doing operational stuff, you're quite all dressed up and smart, so quite fun being able to do some physical stuff, get dirty, stand outside in the lovely Welsh weather, and just get some fresh air, touch some grass, stuff like that. Really good fun.
Also, it's interesting to see how building a railway goes. Someone's done this, but you don't really understand how much work goes into all this, and I've definitely gained a new appreciation for the whole line of, if someone's at least done this bit, and I can now go, well, I've done this bit. It's just completely different. If this is your sort of thing, ripping up rails and putting them back, which is the important bit, I would really recommend this if the operational side of the railway doesn't interest you, but you quite enjoy this section. A lot of people here, I've met quite a lot of new people here, and I've been volunteer for about 4 years. People who will just come down for the outdoor week, and it suits them, and it could suit you. And if you are already a volunteer at Talyllyn Railway or another railway but still want to come down, I'd recommend it as well. You get definitely different from the usual operational stuff, and you get a very different appreciation for the actual line you run on. It's highly recommend it, despite the weather. As well, there is very good soup. We have tea thingy, but the soup is very nice, I can confirm.
And you get free sandwiches as well.
Free sandwiches, nice. But the soup is very good. Having sadly missed it yesterday, had a delicious broccoli soup, I think it was, today. So, do you recommend the whole thing, or just the soup?
Thank you for that update, Outdoor Gang. And speaking of gangs, we've had another rather large gang out for the S&T working week. They've been up and down the railway, sorting out all the maintenance on the EKT machines and looking at points and all of that sort of stuff. So thank you very much to everybody who came out and helped with that. And the weather hasn't been particularly nice on our gangs, but they still managed to smile, which is great. In the sheds, however, because we're not running trains currently, we've been doing some maintenance work on the engines. Two's had lots of little bits of work done to it and has had a couple of working parties over a weekend doing that. It's had a cold inspection, and 4 has had its in-steam inspection. So now that that's passed and all certified and ready to go, it can go out for our Christmas services. Now, 7 has had a bit more work done than anything else over the past couple of weeks. And so much so that there's a bench full of bits that we've just walked away from. So we'll go and find it, and I'll show you what state 7's in now. So we found number 7 here in South Shed, and it's looking pretty bare. So we've taken the tanks off in order to get to clack valve, in order to take off the cylinders, which need to go away to be rebored, and also have new rings on the pistons. So lots and lots of things going on, and it really needed it because it's taken the brunt of the work all of this season, so much so that when we took the blast pipes off, they were all coked up on the inside, so actually it was really struggling to run to its best abilities. But that's why we're giving it lots of attention now, and get it up to speed again. And it's not the only one that's still progressing. As number 6, we haven't forgotten about this. We're still working through our Gantt chart to make sure that the overhaul is on schedule. All of the pipes have been fitted since we saw it last. The bottom row just needs some beading doing to finish it off, but don't worry, it is progressing nicely. And we'd like to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who came to see us at the NEC for the National Festival of Railway Modelling. It was great to see so many people, and it was really well attended. So thank you for that. But now we're going to go back in time a little bit with Luke for a plaque unveiling that happened in Stroud. Over to you, Luke.
So, we're not in Towyn, we're in Stroud on Rodborough Avenue, 30 Rodborough Avenue, and this is such a special place to be. This was the last home of the Reverend Wilbert Awdry. And with me, we've brought one of his Thomases, Thomas Mark III, back to Stroud for, I think, the first time since Farquhar Branch and his models moved to the Narrogate Railway Museum. We've been here today for a blue plaque unveiling to honour the Reverend Wilbert Awdry and show that this is where he lived. Yeah, what an amazing thing for the 80th anniversary year, and it's been such a pleasure to come and represent the Talyllyn Railway here. All the Awdry family are here, and it's been so nice to reunite Thomas with where he was built.
We as a family are very honoured that Father was one of the very few chosen by Historic England this year to be awarded a blue plaque out of a very large number of proposals. The stories actually began in Kings Norton, and I was born there. I'm delighted that we have close links with the Church of St Nicholas there, and in particular that a good friend, Sylvia Fox, can be with us today. The final 6 books in the series were written here in the study, and later my brother Christopher carried on and wrote 16 more. Sodor is the home that all the 7 grandchildren know as being the place where they were always welcomed by Wilbert and Margaret when they were growing up. And I'm sure they remember it with great affection. We're very fortunate that all 7 are able to be with us today, and also some great-grandchildren. Over the years, this house has hosted multiple visits from various clergy, from friends, and not least from Britt Allcroft and her then husband, Angus Wright. In August 1984, Ringo Starr and his wife spent time with plus Britt and various technicians, made a private and discreet visit to the house, with time spent with the model railway and later in the garden for filming and interviews in the fine weather. I believe none of the neighbours had any idea that such prestigious company had been at number 30. Neighbours at number 28, Oliver and Mavis Wicks, became close friends, and those who know the names of Father's engines will correctly associate Oliver with the Western engine and Mavis with the tramway engine, a touch they were delighted with. Sodor was my home for 2 years while I was at university, and both my sister Hilary and I were married from here, she in 1966 and I in 1967. It was home for Father for more than 30 years and Mother for 24. They became very much part of the Rodborough community and church in so many ways and are remembered with great affection. The church held a very vibrant and successful weekend of celebration at the end of September, which involved very much of the community. The church is also home to the most beautiful stained glass window, commissioned in memory of my mother, but in the event commemorates Wilbert as well, as he died before it was installed. It brings in visitors from all over the world and is a favourite destination of Japanese people. Some Japanese children think that Thomas is actually theirs. This house holds very many happy memories and still today belongs to the family, to the 7 grandchildren. Thank you all for being here today, and we think especially of Christopher, my brother, and of Brian Sibley, who wrote Wilbert's biography, who are unable to be present but will be thinking of us.
So it was a real honour to attend that amazing unveiling ceremony, honouring one of our most famous members and volunteers here at the Talyllyn Railway. It was very special to take Farquhar Branch there as well, taking it back to Stroud for the first time in who knows how many years. But we are also taking Farquhar Branch to the Christmas Model Railway Show, which is this weekend, the 13th and 14th of December in Manchester at the Sugden Centre. You can find out more on the Manchester Model Railway Society's website, but Farquhar Branch will be there all weekend in operation with the timetable that Wilbert wrote, in action, with the commentary, everything. So if you're in the Manchester area this weekend, please do come along and say hello. Anyhow, brace yourselves, winter is coming. But you don't need to feel the cold with our brand new festive woolly hats and scarves, which are available in 2 colours, red as worn by Liz earlier in the video, and this lovely green as well. These are perfect for the Talyllyn fanatic in your life this Christmas, and you can find them on our online shop now. Of course, all proceeds from these go straight back into the railway, keeping the engines running and meaning that we can keep the railway open for you guys. And if you're looking for something on those cold winter nights, don't forget our YouTube members is now launched. You can join. There's varying tiers, and we have some of our first members only videos going up this weekend, and the first being Sodor in 2025 by Richard Audrey. So if you're interested in that, please join up as a YouTube member, see what you think. You can have your say on future videos, but even if you don't want to, everything will stay the same. You'll still get excellent videos from us for free every couple of weeks. So thank you very much. And back to you, Liz.
Thanks for that, Luke. And we're back in the workshop where Van 6 is having some work on its brakes. Now, Van 6 was a very light vehicle, which means that didn't help with its stopping and braking capacity. So we're fitting some ballast in the form of some chopped up old rail. That's going to be on the bottom of that, and that will give it some weight to stop it. But we've now had the first of our tinsel and turkey trains, and we're ramping up towards our Santa specials and then running between Christmas and New Year. So there's going to be a bit more activity in the shed. And talking of New Year, next year is very special for us because it's our 75th anniversary, where we're celebrating being a 75-year-old volunteer-run railway. We're going to have a great gala on the May weekend that falls at the same time as Founders Day. So if you're interested in that, check it out on our website, see what we're doing, and come and join us if you can. Speaking of that, the 2026 timetable is available on the website as well, so you can plan all of your journeys to the Talyllyn for next year. And talking of next year, we are awaiting eagerly the correspondence from the National Lottery Heritage Fund regarding our grant application. We've also got a couple of other match funding applications in as well, and we'll hear about those in January. So keep your ears to the ground to hear for some hopefully very good news coming soon. So yes, have a look on the website, buy some of our fantastic merchandise from the shop, because it's great Christmas presents. But thank you for watching, like and subscribe our videos, and we'll see you in the new year.